Now, in a few minutes, I am hopefully going to be talking to Terry Martin about mesh implants and the progress regarding that. Johnson & Johnson were ordered to pay $2.6 million in damages over vaginal mesh implants in Australia recently, and we are going to be following up that story in a few minutes. It's something that we have touched on before regarding this programme, and we were going to keep an eye on it. Gar Campion has texted back, Damien, I'm very upset about the interview. Too hard on me. It's like you were talking to a politician, he says. So anybody who wants to go to Gar Campion's show, check out garterlane.ie, and it is on Thursday night, Friday night and Saturday night. Saturday is sold out, so tomorrow night and Friday night. Damien, Michael has texted in, would you do me a favour and ask the council, would they give me a bit of tar and chippings to fill the 2 dangerous potholes in Bishop's Court Road? Michael, we'll put the word out and see what they say, and if they do, they do, and that'll be great. A lot of people texting in Gar to win those tickets for the show, and we'll have a winner on that soon. We also want you to text in Gimme a Break, Gimme, our last call out for Gimme a Break. We have a fabulous weekend away in the Ardilaun Hotel in Galway, courtesy of Select Hotels of Ireland. A leisure package to suit you. Family offers across 29 hotels nationwide. And our prize today is the Ardilaun Hotel in Galway, and it is really, really nice. So one listener will come on air and take part in our 30-second quiz. Whoever gets the most questions correct in 30 seconds throughout the day will become the 2-night breakaway with breakfast and 1 evening meal for 2 people winner. Now, I think we have Terry on the line. Do we, Terry?
We do, Damien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Terry. Thank you very much for coming on the line to talk to us. We've spoken to you before about mesh implants and the progress your group and you are having regarding getting some sort of a settlement and some sort of developments regarding the Irish courts. The pharmaceutical giant Johnson & Johnson has been ordered to pay costs and damages to 3 lead applicants in the Australian class action, 2.6 million Australian dollars. This just came out yesterday. Would something like this affect your situation? Would it give ye hope that ye might have some sort of progress relatively soon, Terry?
Well, it's wonderful validation for all mesh-injured women globally, because we were dismissed for so long, that sort of way, and made feel abnormal in society that it only happened to us. But, you see, in Ireland we can't do class action. It's not allowed here at all, so you'd have to bring... Like, there are several individual cases being brought forward. And even to Dr. Gabriel Scally, for the cervical smear, he tweeted in November, patients in Ireland are by law prevented from complaining about, clinical care. And this must be changed. It should be by right that nobody has to keep going individual for things. And, in the sense of this, that it is a whole global scandal. But yet, in Ireland, we'd all have to go individually if that's the case for us.
And just explain to our listeners again, what is or what was a mesh implant, Terry? Why would women have to have mesh implants, or were told they had to have them?
Well, women mostly have them for prolapse and stress incontinence after childbirth. It's just things that happen. You have a little leak after you have a baby and things like that. And it was put in then to support your urethra. They're, for all the world, they were like slings and hammocks, but that's the names they were called. We weren't told they were mesh.
Yes.
And we never had sort of fully informed consent on any of the surgeries for it. But it was put in for that. It's also put in now in men and women for hernia mesh.
Yeah,
as well.
And what's the main point that you and your group are making regarding some of these implants, that basically they didn't work and they caused you undue health problems?
Oh yes, it causes chronic pain. It causes infections that's recurrent, especially urinary tract infections. And sometimes they're so high up in the body that the dip tests can't trace it. And you're on constant antibiotics, you have intimacy issues with your partner, breaking up relationships, like physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually. spiritually, the whole way around, it affects your daily living needs. The whole way around. And it's horrible. Like, if we knew then, as the saying goes, what we know now, nobody in their right mind would have this device put in my view.
And
nobody whatsoever.
Where does the Irish government or the Irish courts stand on your campaign? Where or how far are you now? Or, like, you've met different government departments, you've met TDs. Where are you at it, Terry?
Minister Harris sent a learning report to all the consultants back when we started meeting with him first, and then he ordered the Chief Medical Officer to give a report. Now, that came back with 19 recommendations on how to move forward. So they put the pause in then in July 2018 on these surgeries happening. Now, that's only in the public hospitals. Now, I don't know whether they're happening in the private hospitals or whether the consultants are staying away from the mesh altogether now from the problems, but it only refers to HSE hospitals. They put in a pathway as far as... Now, it started off very, very confusing, but up to date, we campaigned for a scanner, and the scanner is going to be available in April for us, and lots of us have got appointments for it. But that's really as far as we're after getting with it. Like, the 19 recommendations that the Chief Medical Officer gave, all the boxes are being ticked going along by the HSE and by Minister Harris. But, like, as I said, in the case of courts and things like that, everybody will have to go individually. Okay, so
it's a big... Like, we've been hearing about...
It's a whole mess.
It's a mess, yeah. No, it's funny when you think about it, Terry. We're hearing this morning, and we had survivors of residential abuse many, many years ago on air, and we saw the programmes last night. Like, the state has a way of basically trying to grind you down, and it sounds like they're doing exactly the same regarding your situation.
Yeah, they are, as I said now, and I would be grateful, and we're all grateful that they are after, that it's coming around now, that the pathways is actually getting going. It's still confusing and everything else in some regard. Some people have got appointments, they're on the scanner list for April. There's other people that's not after getting any acknowledgements since last October. There's no continuity with it. That sort of way.
Yeah.
And it's like you just have to keep after them, and to expect it from, like, sick people. Not in the sense of some days we might have good days, but there's some people that's just totally immobilised by this. Like, I was speaking to a lady yesterday. Her husband has stage 4 cancer, and he's caring for her. So that's wrong.
It is wrong.
It is
wrong.
And because they worked at one point, or they're still working or doing part-time or trying to do a bit, they're not entitled to any of the services. That's wrong. We didn't maim ourselves in this. That sort of way.
Yeah. Listen, Terry, best of luck and keep in touch. And I said we've covered the campaign continuously on this programme, and we're going to continue to try and give you sort of as much publicity as we can on it, because we think you deserve justice.
That's brilliant, Damien, and thanks so much for all your help, you and all your team there, and thanks for all your support, because, like, awareness is the key with everything now, and just keep asking questions. Anybody sees anybody, just ask questions.
Yes, and if anybody wants to get in touch, will they contact you through Facebook, or what's the best way of doing it? They can text or ring the studio 0518 846 123, and we'll pass on your number. But any other way of getting in touch?
Oh yeah, we have a group. It's Mesh Survivors Ireland. That's on Facebook.
Mesh Survivors Ireland, right?
It's a closed group, so we try to keep it just for people who's injured by mesh. But
people can text you, and your name is Terry, Terri, Terry Martin, and they can contact you through Messenger as well. Terry,
and we're on Twitter as well.
Fair play to you on the old Twitter. Terry, mind yourself, okay?
Okay, thanks very much, Damien, and thanks for all your help. Thank you.
Not at all. Terry Martin there, talking to us about the progress, or lack of it, regarding mesh implants, and the fact that there will be some scanners in Holles Street next month. And as I said, we've been following the story, and we're going to follow it up again as the situation develops. People texting in 083 3333 975 regarding the programme last night on RT. The previous night brought back horrible memories of school, being beaten by the Christian Brothers in Waterford for very little reason at all. It just wasn't the boys. My sister was locked in the press at school for a considerable amount of time. Damien, regarding the redress, a friend of mine was offered money, but she didn't accept it and is now in limbo. No apology, no follow-up. He asks if there's any other course that she can take. They've already spent thousands travelling up and down the country to meetings. Damien, regarding another matter, it's a bit off topic, says this texter. I'm looking for some information. I have a 13-year-old son who suffers from anxiety. He's gained a lot of weight over the last number of years. He gets laughed and mocked at in schools during PE classes, and because of that is refusing to join any sports clubs or get involved with any physical exercise. His weight is really bothering him at the minute. Are there any groups or workshops that will help children overcome weight issues locally? Any information would be great. That is from a very concerned parent who texted yesterday and got in touch again this morning. So if anybody's any information on that may help this parent, this family and this 13-year-old boy who's overweight, text us please 083 3333 975. We are finally going to go to an ad break and we will be talking to the competition in a few minutes, and we have really good stuff regarding the Coast Guard. Now, welcome back to the programme. Christopher Ryan from the Haven in Grantstown Park is the winner of our Gar Campion tickets. As I said, you can get tickets available for tomorrow night in Garter Lane. Go on garterlane.ie or you can phone Garter Lane. And for tomorrow and Friday night, Saturday night, it's sold out. We're going to have our person in for the quiz for the Gimme a Break competition in a few minutes. Brian Fleming, how's it going?
How are you, Damien? How are you keeping?
Good. How are you on quizzes?
Well, I might...
you might give it another shot.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot, I'd say.
Yeah. Couldn't have thought to anyway. Well, to come on. Go and take our fault.
Not too bad, no.
You didn't have to talk Irish. What I love sometimes with TG Card documentaries, they mix it up really well between the Irish and the Gaeilge, and it doesn't seem like anybody's forcing it. If people are able to talk Gaeilge, that's fine. If they're not, they're not, and then they have the subtitles on it.
Absolutely, yeah. For the documentary there this evening, we weren't put under any pressure, but at the same time, there was a few words thrown in here and there by the different crews around the country.
And we can't go Dolamach on the letters and stuff like that.
That was it, yeah, exactly.
So listen, you're officer in charge, Brian Fleming, officer in charge with Bunmahon Coast Guard, and the TG Car documentary on Garda Costa or in Sinn Féin is on tonight at 9:30 on TG Car.
Yeah.
I know the producer and director of the show. I've spoken to her and worked with her before, and the standard of production that they do is always quite high. I'd say it's going to be a really good programme. You haven't had a chance to see it yet?
I haven't had a chance to see it yet, no, but I've been talking to, a lot of the lads that are in it and a lot of the crews from around the country, and yeah, they were very impressed with Darina and the setup, the whole setup, what you wanted to do. And
how they wanted to put it together, because they don't do these things lightly and it takes a lot of work. You have archival footage, you have interviews to do, you've got to explain, I suppose, what the Coast Guard does. Tell us about Bunmahon Coast Guard.
Yeah, I'm a member with Bunmahon Coast Guard with 18 years. We're a two-tier system. We're search and rescue and we do cliff rescue as well. So we have a full climbing team there as well. We're covering from Tramore to Ardmore. They're the next two teams at either side of us.
That's a lot of coastline.
It is a lot of coastline, but we can be called inland as well. Like, so we can be called in maybe to Clonmel or back Carrick-on-Shore, that kind of way.
Up to the Comeras if needs be, to work with South East Round Mountain Rescue and different groups.
Yeah, doing a great job up around there, so they're top of their
Why did you get involved, and why do you like being involved with the Coast Guard as a volunteer?
I suppose all my family and friends always use the waterways around the coastline. It's just we spent all our summers on the cliffs and out on the beaches, so it was just a progression thing, I suppose. It just friends of mine were in the Coast Guard, and I went on then at 18 and joined up, and still there.
You're giving away your age there now, fair play to you. And what do you have to do? How much training do you do on a weekly or monthly basis?
We're out once a week, without fail. We're out once a week. It's important that we train. You have to be always ready for every eventuality. So the cliff rescue side, it takes a lot, and it has to be second nature to all the crew.
Because you have to know your terrain, you have to know each nook and cranny. You'll have to say, okay, there's somebody in trouble at the bottom of that cliff. Yes, we've done a an abseil down that cliff before. We know the way to get up and down that cliff.
Exactly, yeah. And as you know, like the cliffs, the roads don't be always going along beside the cliff, so you might have to go across fields and fields and fields before you get to the casualty, you know.
There were issues and have been issues over the years regarding the Coast Guard in terms of the national picture and equipment and all that sort of stuff. You're fully equipped now and all the equipment is good?
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah. All our climbing gear, it's the best you can get. We have new vans, we have Polarises, they're the off-road vehicles we use, so they can bring us to any place we need to go.
Are they magic?
They're brilliant, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, and great fun.
Go on, describe it to me.
It's like it's kind of it's
like a space buggy or something.
It's exactly. It's like a big golf buggy for off-roading. Yeah, and you know it'll go anywhere. It'll climb over any hills, or you know, and you can put gear into it and put 3 people into it. It's all set up with the lights then and VHF radios. Because
it's very important that anybody who is involved in search and rescue is fully equipped and all the equipment has to be at a really high spec, because you don't want to be worried about your equipment.
No, our equipment checks they go on and on. So there's always your individual checks, but every 6 months, like, all our climbing gear is ripped apart completely. Every serial number is taken down and it's checked on date. But as well as that, there's an individual check ongoing as well. And plus, we do a 3-monthly station check as well. So we're going through all the gear again and again. So it takes a lot of time.
Do you enjoy it?
I do, yeah. I do, yeah. Like, you know, it's very unpredictable. You could be getting ready to sit down for the dinner and half an hour later you could be getting winched away by a helicopter, you know. So you just don't know. It's unpredictable the whole time.
Well, fair play to you. Yeah, and everybody involved. I know there's a tiny little bit of money paid for training and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's a voluntary exercise,
exactly.
effectively.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's definitely nobody doing it for money. No,
you wouldn't be.
You wouldn't be doing it for money. But yeah, I think 3 years ago was the last interview I done with you. Was it down in Strably for the dog?
That's right.
Gertie the dog.
Gertie the dog.
Yeah. That was the last time we spoke, I think, now on a job.
Is Gertie still alive, do we know?
Yeah, I think so, yes. All good down there, yeah. All good.
What was the name of the family again? I'm trying to remember them.
Darcy family.
Yes.
Darcy family, yeah. Their daughter lost her life in an accident there around Christmas. And
that's right.
When the dog went missing, then it was devastation, you know, for the whole family. And I suppose even the surrounding village, like, everybody was out looking for the dog, and luckily enough one of our volunteers, Billy Crowley, found the dog, and we had to do a climb for it, but sure, it ended up being a huge story, you know, and a great good news story
international
for the
story.
team.
I know, I remember it well. Yeah. So hello this morning to all the family and to Gertie the dog. And everybody involved in Bunmahon, well done. And anybody involved in the Coast Guard around Waterford or the South East, continued success and safety to you all, okay?
Thanks a million, Demi.
Not at all, Brian. Brian Fleming, Officer in Charge, Bunmahon Coast Guard. Very interesting documentary. It's on tonight at 9:30 on TG Car, and if you don't get to see it, if you're watching anything else, it would also be on the player. So it's on Garda Costa, Arinch and Fane. That is on at 9:30 tonight on TG Car. Now, that is the sound that we're going to be playing in a minute, the 30-second countdown regarding who is going to be in our competition. Stay with us and we will let you know. Now we are trying to get our caller on the line. Some technical problems. We will have that in a minute. Some texts and comments coming in. Brian and his group saved our family dog Gertie. Yes, we might get you on the line before the end of the programme about the famous Gertie. A number of people have been texting about potholes, and Joe Kelly, councillor, has said, I asked about the potholes in Bishop's Grove. He thinks they're going to be filled later today. I expect they will, says Joe Kelly. So if that's what happens, that's what happens. Now, today is International Women's Day. We have Sunday is International Women's Day, ladies, is it? But there's a lot of things happening all week, isn't there? There really is, yes. And so we will see a band, and we're going to talk to Madeline from the Seroptimus Society. Is that correct? In a second. And firstly, I think we have Sophie on the line. Have we got Sophie on the line?
Hi, Damien, yes.
Hello, Sophie. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your surname, and where do you live?
It's Caulfield, and I'm in County Waterford, and I'm on a day off today. I'm heading up to Kilkenny with my sister, so we're just going for a bit of lunch and stuff.
Lovely. Well, congratulations. You are our competition winner in terms of qualifying to answer the questions for our Gimme a Break competition. A 2-night breakaway with breakfast and evening meal for 2 people for 1 night. And it's the Ardelon Hotel in Galway. Would you like that?
Oh my God, absolutely. Be fantastic. Could well do with it, Damien.
Well, listen, we'll give it a go. So what we're going to do is I have a 30-second countdown and I'm going to play that. And once I hit that, you start answering the questions. If you don't know any of the answers, you just say pass or whatever you want to say. Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine, thanks.
And then I'll give you the answers at the end. So answer as many questions as you can within the 30 seconds. Okay, Sophie, are you ready?
I'll try.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Which insect symbolises good luck?
A rabbit's foot.
What is the human body's biggest organ?
The brain.
What are baby goats called?
Kids.
How many days are in the month of June?
30.
What movie was Buzz Lightyear a character in?
Toy Story.
Where is the smallest bone in the body?
In the ear.
In what city would you find the spire?
Dublin City.
What is the name of the trophy? Okay, I've started, so I'll finish. What is the name of the trophy presented to the winners of the All-Ireland hurling final?
It's either the Liam McCarthy or the Liam McCarthy.
Liam McCarthy, very good. So you got the first 2 wrong, I'm afraid. Insect that symbolises good luck is a ladybird. And the human body's biggest organ, believe it or not, this is a difficult one, I wouldn't have got this one, is
the skin.
The skin, that's what it is. Yeah, it's actually seen, yeah. Our ladies here are answering it, yeah. But you did get baby goats, kids right. You got June right. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 6 right.
Okay.
I'm just going to try and check how many did the person get this morning on the breakfast show, but I think you're right up there at the top. So listen, Sophie, well done. Do you want to say, yes, I think there was 6 also this morning, so you're joint top with the person on the breakfast show this morning. Do you want to say hello to anybody?
Just hi to everybody who knows me. Wish me luck, fingers crossed.
Yes, I know there'll be a draw later on Aveen's Drive Time show about to see who gets forward and wins the actual thing for later in the week. Is that okay?
That's perfect. I'll listen in. Thanks for having me, Damien.
Sophie, have a great day. Mind yourself. Thank you very much.
And you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Sophie there talking to us, and she has got 6 right. Ladies, she didn't do too bad, did she?
No, she's very good.
Pull that microphone right into you there, please, or come into it. Yeah, that's lovely. So we've got 2 ladies in the studio. Who do we have, please?
I'm Madeleine Burke.
And tell us a little bit about yourself, Madeleine.
Well, I'm from Wexford originally, living in Dungarvan now recently. And I joined the Seroptimus group here about a year ago. They had an event last International Women's Day, which was 8th of March last year. And I just happened to go to the event, and I was so impressed by the speakers and by the ladies who'd organised the event and everything that I looked into the group afterwards and decided to join them.
And who do we have beside you?
Ina Considine.
Hello, Ina.
Hello, Damien, how are you?
Very good.
And exactly the same. I went to the event last year and I found it brilliant, so I decided to join, and I absolutely love it.
What is Seroptimists? What's the Seroptimist Society? Tell us about a Seroptimist.
Well, the word Seroptimist means the best of sisters, and basically it's women supporting women. Like, I suppose it was set up in a time when, you know, women were treated as second-class citizens in a lot of areas. I know things have changed and a lot of women are well able to stand up for themselves now, but this was really, you know, to help with gender equality and getting, you know, education rights for women, and I suppose back as far as voting rights for women. It's been around a long time, but it's an international group. There's over 2,500 clubs in 85 countries worldwide, and we're parts of the Dungarvan Club here. So we're organising this event for International Women's Day.
And tell us about what do you do, Anna?
Ina. I know. Well, we meet up every month and we organise different events, such as this International Women's Day event, where we have a number of speakers coming. We also, at Christmas, raise funds for some local charities. We're particularly focused on charities that would support women who, such as the Oasis House in Waterford. That would be one of the charities that we would provide support for, and also like local Vincent de Paul groups and other local charities that need help. And we also organise other events. Like last, I think it was like about November, we organised an event down in St Mary's where we had Sister Maria Goretti Kelleher came, and she spoke about her time working in Africa. She had been one of the speakers at this event last year, and there were so many speakers last year that they each only had a short time to speak, and she was one particular person who everybody wanted to hear more of. So then, following up on the International Women's Day event, we organised an event last November where she came and spoke, for over an hour about her time in Africa.
And there are events happening all during the week as well for International Women's Day. We were talking to Breda and different people about other events that are happening in the city and across the county. You also organise speech competitions through schools and things like that.
Yeah, there's a public speaking competition that's run over the whole island of Ireland.
Yes.
This was originally started back in the 80s when the president of the Southern Irish part of the Seroptimists and the Northern Ireland part of the Seroptimists got together to try and do something to create some synergy between the groups on the island, and they started organising this annual public speaking competition for secondary school girls. And we normally host just the local heat for this area, but because last year the national winner came from the Waterford area, Holly, I'm trying to think of her name,
Holly Drone, was
Drone,
it?
yes.
Holly, yeah.
Yeah, she was a wonderful speaker, and she actually presented her public speaking piece at the International Women's Day event last year, and she was, people thought she was a wonderful speaker, but she went ahead and won the All Ireland.
So you have the national final again here. So congratulations!
So now this year we have hosted not just the local final but also the regional final, and on the 21st of March we'll be hosting the national public speaking final in Dungarvan, which is a great honour for us.
Tell me about this event on Sunday, please.
Well, this event on Sunday starts about 2:00, and of course everything in Ireland has to start with a cup of tea. So if you come...
Where's it on?
In Lawler's Hotel, and we are very grateful to Lawler's for always hosting us and sponsoring our events. They've been a great supporter of our organisation for many years. So if you come at 2:00, you get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and maybe a few snacks, and then the event will be started by our local president is Anne Higgins, who's well known in the locality, and she'll be presenting the speakers then for the afternoon. The Mayor of Waterford City and County, Councillor John Pratt, will be there to do kind of an official opening, I think as it was opened officially by the Mayor last year as well. And then we have a number of different speakers, people who have worked in different areas and have had different life experiences. And I suppose for women, women are probably better at this than men, discussing their personal experiences and how they got through different times in their lives. And I suppose by sharing your own experiences with other people, you show that, well, you might have difficult times at different stages through your life, but your life can still be success, and you can still live a happy, fulfilled life despite, different tragedies or traumas that you might have experienced.
This event is open to everybody? Everybody,
and it's free. We won't charge anything.
Men and women?
Men and women. Yeah, we love men, actually, but, even though we're a women's group. But no, men are welcome as well. But all the speakers obviously are women, because it's women speaking about women's experiences. And
if anybody wants to get in touch with the Seroptimists, obviously if they're not there on Sunday they can't do it. How would they get in touch with you?
Well, there's a Facebook page. If you go to Seroptimist Dungarvan, you'll find the Facebook page there.
And it's open to women of all ages?
Oh, all ages. Yeah, we have
all ages, all classes, all backgrounds.
Yes, everybody.
Fully inclusive.
Yeah. Like we have the two local, the two speakers who won the regional final of the public speaking. They're secondary school students. They are actually going to give their public speaking speech
recitation or whatever.
Yes, they're going to do it on that day as well, and that will be a great experience for them, as a practice before they go to the All Ireland final on the 21st of March.
Excellent. Listen, continued success. Hope it goes very well and good luck. So it's this Sunday at 2 o'clock in Lawler's Hotel.
Hotel.
Anybody around, drop in, have a cup of tea, as you say, and have a little listen. And there'll be quite a multitude of speakers, so you can stay for 10 minutes, you can stay for half an hour, whatever the case may be. You can pop in and out. So it's nice and relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, it should run till about 5 o'clock, I think, that way. And we might have more tea at the end. Who knows?
It'll be full of tea. You can never have too much tea. Go on, go on, go on.
Exactly. Yeah, well, it'll be lots of fun and laughter as well.
Super.
And that's the thing,
and continued success to anybody who's involved in any issues, any sort of events regarding International Women's Week and International Women's Day. And the best of luck to you. Madeleine Burke, thanks very much. Anna, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very
really
much,
appreciate
Damien.
it.
Thank you.
Next, we are going to be talking about place names and very important place names around Waterford City and County. Now, a lot of people texting in about the topics we've had this morning regarding the young man and anxiety. Texter says, personal training or small group training will do wonders for his head, his confidence and managing his weight. A good trainer is worth his or her weight in gold. Edgar has texted in, I'm with the Edgar Kirby School of Performing Arts, located at 21 Mary Street, Dungarvan. We've great performing arts school with zero bullying policy that's strongly implemented. We are about building children and teenagers' esteem and confidence. I'd love to have a chat with this family and get something sorted to help this young man on offer. We offer class in dance, drama, singing and lots more. If he's even slightly interested, it might be worth a shot. Very, very good suggestion, Edgar. Now I am joined by Liam. Do you with Liam?
Constantine Madden.
Go huntuk ar fod, constí.
Hamima.
And I'm sure... Go yes ar fod, not
Tá,
too bad.
No, tá sé go des ar badnis. Bhí sé fluch níos túisce, but tá green attendant sure ní further bheith get on.
Tá leabhar úntach I má lámh agam. It's called The Personality of a Coastline, Liam Supple, 2019, or Liam Supple Osberla. It's a beautiful book. We spoke briefly about it before because you were in to talk about Club Deise, and I want to give a big mention tonight as well. Anybody around Waterford City or the east of a county, tonight, Waterford City Metropolitan Launch Night, Granville Hotel, 8 o'clock. Special guests including Liam Cahill. So it's basically setting up a new branch, a revived branch of Club Deise, which supports all the inter-county GAA teams. Current managers of our county teams for the 2020 season, outlining aims and aspirations, along with some former Waterford players. Kieran O'Connor is MC tonight, and it's a meet and greet, tea and coffee. Any Deise fans at all, get along tonight to the Granville Hotel at 8 o'clock. Liam, I'm very impressed with this book. It's a lovely publication. And basically, it's a topic that I think we can do something more about throughout the summer. And I think we'll set up a series of discussions on this because people are fascinated by this, particularly on the coastline. So what did you do when you aimed to write this book?
Well, it came about from the fact that whereas there's been a lot of work done on place names on land, as it were, there's been very little published on the place names on the coast. And if you look to Canon Power's place names of Deise, which was the Bible for County Waterford or the Deise, quite detailed research was done at the turn of the last century. And of course the townlands were easily defined with their boundaries and whatever. However, in Canon Power, he only listed the coastal names, and he didn't provide any indicators as to their location. Then there were other people like Nicholas McCrath or Nicholas O'Grifon or Siobhan Lincoln and Ardmore who went further and collected Canon Power's names plus other names that were in use. However, I'm from Ardmore originally, and in Ardmore there were place names on the cliffs that we knew, but they weren't appearing on any maps.
Give me a few examples.
Well, for example, File Nagath, the Cliff of the Cats, the Cup and Saucer over in Ardmore, the Clash, where we went fishing. Today, if you went over and said to people that you were fishing at the Clash, very few people would know. Whereas back in the 60s, as I grew up, people would know to within 6 inches where you were standing on the rocks if you mentioned the Clash.
Why was it called the Clash?
The Clash because it refers to, like the place names, the physical features of this sort of ravine on the cliffs where you went, where there was a standing spot that you could fish for bass or mackerel or whatever was in. And that was known locally as the fishing spot as the Clash.
Do place names talk to you?
Well, if you look at the place names and if you look at the names mentioned in the book, they go back over 4,000 years. And these place names were names that were given by our people to these places. So it is in ways a conversation with our ancestors. But it's also a wealth of knowledge about the locality. Like, for example, up to 200 years ago, place names were defined by their location, physical, geographical, by the history, by the genealogy. It's only in the past 200 years that we've been dreaming up names that have no connectivity with the actual locality. And it's in our time, in the past 30 years, that we're naming places after television programmes, which will in future have no connectivity with anything.
Talk to me about the Cup and Saucer, please.
The Cup and Saucer. The Cup and Saucer, if you head out on the cliff walk in Ardmore, and as you go around Ramhead or Cowan and Ramara, and you head over toward Father O'Donnell as well, and if you look to your left, you'll see a rock formation that is separated from the mainland, and it's on a flat stone. So you have this boulder on top of a flat stone resembling a cup and saucer. And of course, locally it was known as the Cup and Saucer.
Tell me about Goat Island.
Goat Island again, a place over further as you go towards Whiting Bay. Goat Island is a small area. Again, it's diminished in the last number of years because these places are constantly changing. But they say that way back when goats were an important part of the household way back 100, 150 years ago. At a certain time of the years, they were corralled down there, and the place got the name from the fact that the goats were corralled and held there in that area, and Goat Island.
Carty's Cove, did it get its name from Carty or where?
Again, a local family in the area that were in the area, and it became known as Carty's Cove. Now, some of these names are relatively new, maybe the past 100, 200 years, but some date back into antiquity. And of course, some of these change because, like as you mentioned there, the genealogy, it may be a landowner, it may be somebody that was shipwrecked on that spot, or some connectivity with some family member, and then the name is held.
Yeah, Fallen Erin, Cliff of the Iron. According to Siobhan Lincoln's research, the name refers to the sinking of an iron ship at the spot in the distant past.
Yes, well, you see, File Earing Iron, and interestingly, that if you look at the shipwrecks of Ireland, there's the first mention of an iron ship or a steel-hulled ship going down in that area. So it's possibly the link, the fact that this was the first time that the locals saw a steel-hulled ship and the iron, and of course the Cliff of the Iron.
It's a beautifully produced book. I know it's available in Dungarvan and in the city.
It is. It's available in the bookshop in Waterford. It's available in Shalhouse on the corner here in Dungarvan. It's available at the tourist office here in Dungarvan, and it's available at David Welch's here in Dungarvan, and in John Quinn's and in the pottery shop in Ardmore as well.
The coastline, the Waterford coastline, it extends through 5 parishes,
yes,
39 townlands, over 43 kilometres of coastline, and 400 coastal place names.
If you look at the current Ordnance Survey map, you'll see 34 place names between the Ferry Point and the Point of the Cunninger here in Dungarvan, and there we shall we call those the official maps. So in my research and the pieces from published material and unpublished material and the scraps of papers and drawings and things like that, there are over 400 names. These are minor coastal names that I suppose to people maybe 10 kilometres away would mean very little, but in times past were hugely important to a local community.
Because, particularly regarding fishing, and we've spoken to Brian from Bunmahon Coast Guard just beforehand, this idea of knowing every cliff face, knowing every nook and cranny, knowing where every rock is. It wasn't just a matter of discourse, it was a matter of potentially of saving your life.
Most definitely. And interestingly, when I started on this, I presumed that quite a lot of these names would be associated to seafaring. In actual fact, it's 50-50 to landowners and to seafarers. And another interesting point is that the seafarers had names of townlands in the sea. and these were established by angulation, triangulation or biangulation with, shall we say, recognisable features on land. So when the lines crossed, they knew they were in Unglaun, as they call it, of Helvig, or they were at Gubbencaing, the point off the head, when they could see Ardmore. When they went out south of Helvig and could see Ardmore Head, that was the townland, or that was the place name in the sea. So not alone were they in the sea, on the shoreline, on the cliffs, and on top of the cliffs, that whole story is being told through those place names.
I know you've only done, when I say only, you've done from Dungarvan to Youghal. So it's only half the county, you could say.
Oh, true.
Will you go and do the other half?
No, I'm afraid now it might be a little bit past me, but I think the importance of this, there's 3 or 4 studies of this nature done all over Ireland. Some in Donegal, some on West Galway, and in Dangan, in Gaeltacht, and a little in West Cork. But other than that, they say there are 61,000 place names in Ireland. That doesn't include the minor coastal place names. So what I'm hoping is that people may have a look through the book and maybe encourage others to continue along the coastline, because, as I said, there's 400 there over a short, maybe as the crow flies, what would it be, maybe 15 kilometres. So there are many, many more. And these are stories, are conversations with our past and with our ancestors that would be pity to lose.
You have really cleverly put the Ordnance Survey maps from Google Earth in at the back of the book, and that's excellent, because it shows exactly where to go.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the voids in the information or in the local knowledge. Quite a lot of names were in the public arena. Some were not published, but there were very, very few maps of any description. So it was imperative, as best I could, that the names that I had collected would be recorded on the Google Earth maps. And
I know Waterford City and County Council helped you produce the book, and well done to them in supporting this, and also Creative Ireland programme.
Yes.
It's a beautifully produced book. It's called The Personality of a Coastline, Liam Supple, 2019. It's for sale, as you heard, in all the different bookshops. Really, really good. And if somebody wanted to buy this and literally say, right, let's spend the summer going off and finding these places, can I ask you, have you any particular favourites in Onryan or in Shanafupple or Ardmore? Have you anything that really you just think, oh, that's clever how they did that? Or
well, if you take, if you look at the 400, then take them as a collective. One of the interesting points that came out of this is that there were 7 or 8 references to the penal laws and the priests hiding down on the cliffs. And there are 7 or 8 references in that short space of coastline where the priests during penal laws were hidden away. The local people maintained and got access to the religious services that they required at the time. But the cliffs were a no man's land, so as that they couldn't be accused of harbouring a priest at the time, because the priest hunters, they would have been rewarded by a half-year salary for a tradesman if they gave information that led to the capture of a priest. So there are 7 or 8 references in the stretch of coastline, which was interesting when you look at the names as a collective.
The priest hunters. That will lead us nicely, I'd say, into our first theme when we revisit this. Liam, thanks very much for coming into us.
Good morning,
Fáilte Rót, and really, really looking forward to having a chat with you now over the next few weeks and months. So anybody wants to text us in about this, please do. 083 333 975. The Personality of a Coastline. And we will follow this up over the next weeks. Now, thank you everybody for your texts and comments, for your contributions to the programme. Greenway cycling is the best way to lose weight for that young lad, and it's relatively quiet this time of the year. Thank you, Julie, for producing. We've been in our Dungarvan studios. Jeff is up next. We will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great and safe day.